Welcome to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app on Apple Podcasts, on Android, Spotify, or the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Also, make sure to check out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server, $2.99 per month if you bypass the Apple upcharge. So just basically go to the link here in the description, go all the way through, click on it, pay the $2.99, and you're in. We've added more than 50 members here in the past couple of weeks. So come communicate on the heat all night long. Also, you get special host updates from us, stage shows, and more that you can't find anywhere else. It's Off the Floor. Also, check out the great sponsors of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Includes Underdog Fantasy. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Underdog, the best place to cash in on all your takes during the NFL playoffs, which players are going off and which ones are ice cold. So whether or not you want to play Jordan Love over under Jalen Hurts, all the quarterbacks, they're there. Also, of course, you can still play the NBA. So check it out. Make sure you're using the code 5. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code 5. Deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's the promo code 5. You must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama or Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 years or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado for some games. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. And now, today's episode.
Down the Biscayne. Yikes. 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing, you can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the floor playing, got it all band. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat, we trust.
You sound scared.
It's about to have the guts, we're here to bring the heat. Y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Well, art is art, whether it's a child with crayons or a Van Gogh painting. And this was more child with crayons. Miami Heat win 97-92 against Utah. In Utah, they avenge a 36-point embarrassing loss at home, which started the post-Jimmy suspension era. They're now 2-2 without Jimmy Butler. Probably should be 3-1 because they should have won that game in Sacramento. They've got Portland coming up next, which is a winnable game, and then they go for 2 in LA. So things have settled down a little bit. I think that's really the theme of today. They found a game, even if it wasn't the prettiest game, and they're getting a better performance from one of their young players lately. We've talked a lot about Niko Jovic, but tonight's player of the game, and we might as well get to it right away. So Alex, roll it. Was a different young player and former first-round pick.
And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the Heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
So I just went through this, and Heat first-round picks, their own first-round picks, scored 77 of their 97 points tonight. So you want to talk about a youth movement building through the draft. We're starting to see a little bit of it. Tyler was the leader with 23, but to me, he's not the player of the game. To me, the player of the game was Jaime Jaquez. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Big late 3, not the shot that you necessarily wanted him to take, but he made it, and then he had 2 free throws at the end. Brady, he's found his footing lately. Is this, I don't know. I mean, he looked like he was just spinning in circles for a while. I mean, literally spinning in circles. And now all of a sudden he's putting up productive numbers. He had, some bad shots at the end of the game the other night. But overall, he's played much, much better. Does he look healthier to you? Does he look more confident to you? Is this a product of getting the minutes with Jimmy not being in there? Why is he playing better?
I think it's mainly the role change. I mean, we've called many things health, and we just didn't know. He just didn't look right for a large portion of the season. And I think the role was kind of the biggest thing. They were using him as a spot up shooter, and we just know that's not his game. Like, yeah, he can hit that three at the end of the game when he steps into it above the break, when he's already in a rhythm. But asking him in the first quarter when he checks in and stand in the corner and hit spot up threes, it's just not him. Or late in the game, even the couple, or was it last game or the game before when he was late in the game, standing in the corner, getting kick out threes. That's just not his game. So they pretty much just turned the keys over, as I mentioned a couple games ago, to Jovic and Jaime. They're pretty much running certain lineups, and they just have the ball in their hands a ton. And I'll say, before I get into Jaime, credit to Tyler still being able to get his numbers and still being able to put up 23 points tonight, because he really is getting the ball taken out of his hands a lot in these lineups. When I said with Jaime and Jovic running on the ball, running point, Tyler's having to run off screens, running off the ball. He's not pressing, and he's still getting his numbers. So credit to him. But Jaime it just feels like, the 7 assists tonight. He's able to kind of, get into a rhythm early, get into the paint. He's just finishing better right now. And he's getting added attention. So it's just leading to those type of kickouts, those type of reads. He just looks so much more comfortable right now. And I think the biggest thing with this kind of youth movement that you mentioned is they're playing faster, because I just feel like they have to play faster. They have to play off turnovers. They have to play on the break, because you have to lean into your personnel, and that's their personnel. Tyler, Jovic, Jaime, all these young guys that want to run. It just feels like it kind of activates Jaime in a way that gets him going, and then the half court he can flow into things. So yeah, big shot late to kind of, he ends up supposed to get 2 free throws and put them up 4. Challenge takes it away, so now it's a 2-point game, and to step into that shot in that point in the game, he's just in a rhythm right now, and it doesn't feel like this is one of those just hot stretches. It just feels to me like this is one of these turns in the season where a guy gets back confidence and just finds the role that's meant for him. And I think him being on the ball, that's meant for him.
Alex is frozen tonight, and it's not his internet. Are you okay out there? Alex is outside.
Am I lagging?
No, you're fine. Actually, it's not that. You're just braving the bitter conditions. I'm expecting you to wear a 6th or 7th layer.
This is culture, by the way. This is what culture looks like. It may not be pretty.
It is culture. Right. It is culture. I mean, I'm in my comfortable office, but we feel you braving the 51-degree temps tonight. I want to get into some other guys here, and I think Brady kind of covered the Hawkes thing, which is 36 minutes, 7 of 11, again, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 of 5 from 3. You mentioned Tyler, 23, 7, and 5. Bam tonight, 15, 7, and 3, took 13 shots. They did not get great shooting from Highsmith, 2 of 7. Actually, combined, Duncan and Highsmith combined 1 of 11 from 3, and Burks, one of the few games that he plays decent minutes, he played 18 minutes, was only 2 of 7 from 3. But I want to go to somebody else here. Let's talk about Ware, Alex. Let's talk about Ware, because he's getting the consistent minutes. Tonight he was 4 of 5 from the floor, 8.7 rebounds. I'm trying to put off the other guy until much later in the program. I think you realize that. But he's getting the minutes now. We've seen him mixing with different groups. He played again with Jovic coming off the bench. It does seem like Spo wants to emphasize that. But are you comfortable with some of the improvements? Because he looked like his screening was a little bit better tonight. The rebounding was a little bit better tonight. Like some of the little things we've talked about, there seems to be a little bit of growth.
Yeah, I think this is what happens over time, right? Like this is what we see with a rookie, and the stuff that we've been talking about with him that he needs to clean up. Like we mentioned on the last show, are little things, right? Like it's just turning bad habits into better ones. And I'm not trying to drink all of the Heat's Kool-Aid when it comes to their prospects. I just think like those specific things that, he needed to get better at were kind of easily fixable to me. Whereas like other things, like a guy with a broken shot might take a lot of time to fix, right? Something like that, for example. But that's not really the problem with Ware. It was just, him putting in the work, boxing out, and making sure not to overcommit on defense as a rim protector, right? Like I think those 2 things are just things that with the reps and with the proper coaching, which of course I'm sure they're pointing these things out in film, like those are things you can, I think, clean up pretty easily. And maybe I'm overestimating how easy it is to clean up because he is a rookie, right? And then like the speed to the game, all of that. Like I don't think he needs to make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like it's not intentional, so it might not be that easy to clean up. But still, like those things, you clean those things up, and all of a sudden he's much more productive. And maybe you don't have to worry as much about the defense. And they've been really leaning into the zone, as we've been talking about the past few post-game shows. And it worked on that end for them, right? Like they held the Jazz to pretty bad, like just awful offensive rating. If you look at half court overall in transition, like both teams shot terribly from three. And, outside of that, I think Ware just did his job. He didn't make too many mistakes and just looks like a solid backup five out there for you already. Like with the mistakes coming down, he just looks like a much more I think much more solidified in that role as backup five. Like, because, there's a scenario. I'm not saying this could happen or it will happen, I should say, but scenario where he keeps making the mistakes and then they just play Love again. If they feel like he's, if it's not benefiting them to play Ware. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's good to see him curbing some of those things early on. And I think that's why he's solidifying himself in that spot. I think they want to keep him there at this point.
So,
and he plays awesome with Nico, as we all know.
So we're still going to talk about the other guy here as we go forward. But I want to make one other point here, just if I did in the intro. I think now we see that what happened against Utah at home was more of an aberration and not a...
That was the word Spo used, right?
Well, did he? I mean, I wasn't even in there for the presser, but did he say that?
I think he did.
Because
it might be the wrong game, but I'm pretty sure he said that about that game.
Okay, because it does feel like that now looking back, because everybody drew these conclusions, and I said, look, coming into that game without Jimmy, they were 5-5 without him this year, right? And then they just got swamped at home, but there was so much swirl at that point that I don't know how much that affected them. It feels like they've settled in a little bit now. It does. Like, not that they don't miss Jimmy. I'm not going to say that. Okay, we'll have a short Jimmy report at the end of this podcast, but I just think that they have kind of found who they're going to go to in certain situations. We've seen Jovic, emerge a little bit more. We talk about Jaquez. We know that Tyler is obviously going to get the bulk of the shots. The one thing that's clear is they're not going to lean into Bam shooting more. It does not seem like it. It's even like Bam played very well, I thought, in the last game, but it just seems like they're comfortable with him kind of just, with these sort of like 15-8, 15-9 stat lines, 4 assists, play defense. Like, they're not going to throw the heavy load on him. We've talked about that a lot. I know some want him to take it, but it doesn't seem like that's where they're headed. Before we get to the play of the night, though, let's have the Rosier conversation.
Can I just throw 2 stat lines at you before you get to that? And we could just play like guess that player. Okay, yeah. I got one stat line here: 9 points, 4 for 13 shooting, 1 for 8 from 3. The other guy I'll throw at you: 9 points, 3 of 12 shooting, 2 for 9 from 3. One of those guys is Terry Rosier. The other one is Patty Mills. So I'll just send it back to you now with that.
They did not give up a first-round pick for Patty Mills. We enjoyed Patty Mills' presence on the podcast. He says at the end of the day more than Alex does. But
yeah, I gave it up after that.
You did. They cut Patty Mills loose. I just want to go over some other stat lines for Rosier here lately, and I'm just again trying to figure out how this is salvageable. So tonight, let's see. Tonight he played 33 minutes. Spo's still giving him the minutes. And like you mentioned, he was 4 of 13. Last game, 32 minutes. He was 4 of 12. So he's now 8 of 25 over the last 2. That's 32%. Game before that, the double overtime game against Sacramento, he was 6 of 15. Game before that against Utah at home, he was 4 of 9, but that included 0 of 5 from 3. Game before that, he was 6 of 12 against Indiana. Of course, that was the famous Jimmy Quick game. Didn't play in the New Orleans game. Okay, they're 4-0 without him this year. In life, there are no coincidences. Against Houston, 6 of 19, 0 of 8 from 3. 3 of 8 against Atlanta, 1 of 5 from 3, 6 of 14 against Orlando. I mean, you have to really go back. The Indiana game, he was okay, but nobody noticed because of the Jimmy thing. You really have to go back to the first of the 2 games against Orlando, where he scored 23 on 8 of 15 shooting. Can they keep rolling him out there? I feel like if Drew Smith was healthy, he wouldn't be playing. Am I wrong about that?
Drew Smith would definitely be getting a bulk of the minutes, but look, I felt like, okay, he's starting. This feels to me at the beginning, it was like, okay, it's one of these situations where they're stashing him early to get his minutes out the way, and then they can kind of get to the rest of their rotation afterward. That's not what's going on. That is absolutely the opposite of what's going on. Like, he is legitimately playing, as you mentioned, the minutes is what's crazy to me. It's not even the shooting. Like, the shooting, like, it is what it is now. We know what you're going to get on a nightly basis, but the fact he's still playing major minutes down the stretch. Doesn't matter matchups, defensive. Like, he's just out there. And he's not playing a major role offensively. Like, he's getting shots throughout the game. When you were going through those numbers and I was looking at them as you were mentioning them, the 3-point numbers is what's really crazy to look at. Like, if you really take a look back at the past games, like if you go game by game, it's horrible. Like, it's just really, he's taking.
Well, I'm going to count it up, Brady. I'm going to count it up. You ready? Here, this is the quick math here. 1 of 8 tonight. So 1 of 4. So he was 2 of 12. Go back to the Sacramento game. 4 of 20, including Utah. 4 of 25. 4 of 28 if you include Indiana. 4 of 36 dating back to 12-29. 4 of 36. Throw in the Atlanta game. That actually raises his percentage. He was 1 of 5. 5 of 41 in his last 7 games. You have to tell him to stop taking them now, don't you?
But if you're telling him to stop taking him, why is he playing? And I think that's what kind of loops this all together. Is like, if you're telling a guy not to take threes, that his whole game is based off taking tough shots, and you already told him not to take mid-ranges, why is he playing 32 minutes? So it's kind of like you have to have a full conversation about this, about what's your direction here. So I know a lot of people are asking, why is he playing so many minutes? I don't have the answer to that, but the only thing, are they trying to show an asset? Are they trying to find a stretch where he does get hot? Maybe he gets on a 4-game hot stretch, and then I don't know, like, you showcase something. I really don't know. Like, I think if you were to play if this next game coming up was a do or die game with this roster that they have right now, would Spo play Rosier 32 minutes? I don't believe so. I don't know if that would happen.
I think so, Brady. I think so. Alex, do you think so?
I don't. You said with the roster healthy, is that what you said? Like with everybody playing?
With the roster they have
let's
now
just say with
Jimmy.
the roster they had tonight. Yeah, without Jimmy.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a different conversation. But I don't know, man. I've still been a little bit perplexed by not just, it's one thing to start Terry, like you mentioned, Brady, but to play him this much when he's just not been effective. Like, I really don't. We try to be like fair and professional about these guys and not just trash them, but it's really hard to say positive things about him this season. Like, I feel like we're mostly positive about him in his the short tenure with the Heat last season after they acquired him. And this season, I don't know, man. Like, we talked about it on so many shows, the drop off has been something that I don't know how many times I've ever seen something like this from a Heat player one season to the next. Like, it's just been insane. He's not been effective. It's like you tried with him starting, you tried with him not starting. You've seen him starting with Jimmy, without Jimmy. Like, you see him in a lot of different roles. He's not effective. He's just not. Like, you almost want, like, if he's gonna play, I'd rather him come off the bench for sure. Like, I think Duncan as a starter is much more effective. But like, I'm 100% with you, Brady. Like, if you're just not gonna use him, don't play him. And I think, like some people are saying in the comments, maybe they want to keep playing him just to hold on to the long shot that maybe they can move off of him in a Jimmy trade and without having to give up something else. I don't know. Like, that's complete speculation, obviously, but I just mean, like, basketball wise, I don't see the reason to play him 30 minutes. It's what you could start him and play him 15, 17, 20 minutes. 30 is insane. I like, it's obviously a little bit tough right now without Jimmy because you want to have like more creation out there, but his creation has fallen off a cliff, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you'd think that maybe with a bigger role he'd play better. It's not really happening. He's not making layups. He's not making jumpers. He, like Brady mentioned, he doesn't take the middies anymore. And since he doesn't attack as much as he used to, the playmaking isn't there that you were getting last season, the high assist to turnover ratio, and he's already a big liability on defense. So
who do they play?
Him in this role, you either keep him in this role or you keep him out of the rotation altogether. Like, there shouldn't be an in between.
You keep him out of the rotation, and I want to get to the play of the night here in a second. You keep him out of the rotation and play who? Larson? He's already playing Burks, right? He's already playing Burks. He's playing Ware up front, so he's gone a little bit bigger. He's playing Jovic. So who? Drew's out for the season, or you play Josh Christopher? Like, who do you play? Brady, you play Larson?
From the defense.
It's Larson. Look, if you're two of your top 3 playmakers right now are 6'9" and 6'10", you don't need to worry about the quote unquote point guard. We joke around about positions all the time, but like at the end of the day, you have 2 of your largest players on the team that are your playmakers, and you can lean into off the bench if Duncan starts. You can lean into Pella, Burks, Jovic, Ware. Like, you can do that if you want to, or you can get crazy. Look, I know this isn't a lineup episode, but like, I know a lot of people are seeing the way Jovic is playing and want him to start. I personally like him in the role he's in. I just think it makes more sense. If anything, I want him to see is up his minutes and just get like a different minute diet. But I like the rotation he's in right now. But even in that case, you could start him and basically play the 1 in that lineup. I just think they're trying to balance him and Jaime. But there's definitely other ways they can go. And look, if this is if they want to play him, it's fine. Like if you want to play him in a 6-man role where he gets a 5-minute stint off the bench to see if he does have it on a certain night, like I'm not saying not to play him. I think that's fine with the position they're in right now. But starting and playing 32 minutes right now just seems it's definitely not helping the asset. Like so we're talking about the basketball side and the asset side. I don't really know what it is helping right now.
I mean, if you have a chipped tooth, like you don't like expose it so everybody can see it, right? Cover your mouth. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. I see. I can't go with this. And again, I was in favor of the trade, so I effed up on this. But like Thrax Pack TV, Terry did miss a lot of shots, but hits the one we need late in the game. He definitely affects the game more than just scoring. I don't know, man. Like it's a lot of dribbling to nowhere. It's defensively. There's just I don't know what the impact is. Like we saw the difference with Drew Smith in there and like how he impacted the game, even if it was just being solid and defending and making open shots, like just being basic. Like they just need basic at that position. Like, but is Jay Rich capable of being? Maybe it's Pella because I don't know if Jay Rich is capable of it. We haven't seen him in so long, and he wasn't good early in the season. So I don't know. But they just need something
about Kashad too.
I guess so. And Big Papa ETJ says Drew makes winning basketball plays. He does, and I think that's why people latched on to him because you don't see him. There's no freelancing with Rosier. Like, there's a lot of freelancing, and there's not a lot of payoff right now. All right, let's get to the play of the night.
And now it's time for the X-Ray of the Play of the Day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you if you work in a hospital or a medical office. Get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-Ray of the Play of the Day.
What are we going to go with? Alex, I'll let you choose this one.
Oof. Actually,
it's a tough question. Brady, go with it.
Actually, it's a tough question. I wasn't prepared for that.
Why is that a tough question? Go ahead, Brady.
It was such a terrible game. Like, yeah, it is actually a tough question.
Maybe that's why.
There was the really chaotic offensive play late in the game where it was just an absolute mess. They had a miss. They get the offensive rebound. It ends up in the Bam, like, wild turnaround jumper. I think that pushed them up 2 at that point. But the reason I think it mattered was because, look, he hits that. They go down. They get a stop. He goes back down, and he hits, like, a push shot in the lane immediately, and now they have a 4-point lead. And it's like that specific shot, the first one, when he doesn't think and he just has the ball late in the clock, turns around, it's like, I need to get up a free throw line jumper, and he hits it. It's like when he doesn't think, he can hit them.
Yeah.
And that's what gets back to me when we talk about this. He is in his head with a lot of this stuff that has been occurring, that when he doesn't think and when he just goes, when he just shoots, when he just does stuff late, and it kind of just reacting, good things happen. So I thought he actually played, had a pretty decent game with the mid-range dropping a little bit more tonight. He had a 3 in the corner. As you mentioned, like if they're not going to put a lot on his plate right now with kind of this new look offense with the specific roles, but he hit a couple of shots that they needed in this game. And I think as this role continues, if he continues to see some drop and he continues to see some confidence jump, he'll start getting into these modes where he just keeps attacking within a quarter stretch or something. I think that will come along eventually, but he just has to get out of his head. I think this it's pretty clear with the stuff that we're seeing. It does seem mental to me. I mean, look, every time he goes to the line, I think we all kind of think this is probably gonna be 1 for 2. Like it's not like that's not a case of him being like a bad shooter or a bad free throw shooter. I just think that just is kind of showcasing that there is a little bit of a mental thing.
By the way, people are mentioning Isaiah Stevens as an option, and I think they may look at it here before too long. They did give him the 2-way for a reason. And you know what he is he's basic in terms of the fact that he's going to get you into offense. Like that's the thing. I mean, he's also a great passer. He's an elite passer.
Exactly. That passing is not basic. And that's that one skill. Right. He'd always want that one really good skill.
That one skill. No, he is an absolutely elite passer. By the way, Sandwich the play of the night, very good effort, Brady, but Sandwich hit it. The play of the night was the shot wedgie, because that just symbolized the entire game. Was that Markkanen who shot that it ended up, getting stuck in the rim? That felt like everything that this game was about tonight. All right, let me give, before we get to the the defending the house. Let me just give the quick Jimmy update today because I guess we have to do this on every podcast. We'll probably do another pod on this tomorrow. It's late tonight, obviously, so we'll hold some of this for tomorrow. But there really was, I mean, I hate to say, there really was nothing today. There was a whole lot of nothing. I mean, yesterday was the stuff about Beal and not being willing to waive the trade clause. I mean, a whole lot of nothing. I mean, I guess we could aggregate that. We could put that up in the morning, but there really wasn't anything that came out today that we haven't already reported. Sam Amick had a report that the Heat were willing to bring him back on the 17th. We've said that. I don't think anything has changed in that regard. Jimmy was working out at the facility. I know that the Heat requested his presence there, so this was not Jimmy working out of the facility with Heat trainers and assistants without their permission or trying to make some point. They wanted him there, and he went. So I don't know what that means in terms of him being agreeable to coming back on the 17th when the suspension is over, if they haven't traded him by then. But I guess it telegraphs it as a little bit of a good sign at this stage that he'll be back. And of course, the Heat are not intending to send him home with pay for the rest of the season. They will try to bring him back if there's no trade by the 17th. And unless the two sides come to an agreement mutually for him not to play, if he refuses to play, then they'll just try to suspend him again. And basically take away additional salary. So we'll see where it gets to on the 17th. But now we're basically a week away, and right now, if you want to get a hot ticket, I would jump on those Denver tickets right now. I was looking at them because it'll be a fun scene there, one way or the other. Particularly if Jimmy's brought off the bench, if that ends up being what happens, which I don't think they would do, but we'll see. Yes,
I thought somebody say about that game, if Jimmy was to play, he's either dropping 50 or 6. Like, there's no in between. And I definitely think that's like the perfect description for that game.
Oh no, he's either going for 35 or 2. Yeah. I think that's I think that's it. Yeah, so we're all. I mean, I honestly at this stage I want it to happen. I want it to happen.
Come out in a Nuggets jersey, like by accident, quote unquote.
He's going to take Michael Porter Jr.'s jersey. Just take it off and just make the
hair color
trade official then. Oh, what is the hair? Well, the hair color's got to be orange again, right? Doesn't it? Is it just orange?
Wow, that's a good point.
Until the end of time.
Maybe a hybrid. Maybe it's purple and orange. Like you get.
Oh, could be. Any other team? Well, we know it won't be Memphis colors, right? It won't be that baby blue or the Milwaukee colors.
No, I think it'll be. I have a feeling it'll just be Suns colors. I don't know.
Probably. We're totally off the rails now. But anyway, no new news on this. But I do expect, just by the way this has gone, and that they've kind of lobbed leverage plays back and forth to each other by going through various media outlets, that as we get closer to the 17th, there will be something else that pops out on both sides. I just think so that we'll be heading there. But again, they go to Portland. This should be a relatively easy win for them, you would think. Well, I guess there are no easy wins for the Heat. It'll be a clutch game, but they should win the game. And then the 2 in LA, and we pray for the people who are going through what they're going through in Los Angeles. And we don't even know if those games are going to be played at this stage. They canceled one game already. So we'll see what happens at the end of this trip. But Jimmy's back home. He's not going to his other house in San Diego. He's not going to join the team out there. They'll deal with it when they get back home. All right. Let's get to defending the house.
And now it's time for our Defending the House segment, sponsored by our friends over at The Real Estate Shop. You can find them at realestateshopfl.com. That's with 2 P's and an E, realestateshopfl.com, or at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram. This is Javier Iglesias and Amanda Martin. They help buyers and sellers in real estate. They're nimble and protective of their clients. They service the entire Tri-County area. That's Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties with a proven on-market strategy. The Real Estate Shop sellers earn the most money in the shortest time frame because Amanda and Javier have a deep understanding of the local market. So check them out. Again, it's at the Fort Lauderdale Realtor on Instagram, realestateshopfl.com, or give them a call at 954-268-9812. And now, who defended the house?
People are asking if they could send Jimmy to Sioux Falls for conditioning. No, but one of the reasons they wanted him to work out at the facility is so that he stays in game shape, but also that they can show other teams he's in game shape. So, you don't want to be questioning what kind of shape he's getting into over a week and a half. But the thing that you never worry about really with Jimmy is shape. Like he finds a way to work his way into basketball shape one way or the other. It's just a question of whether he can stay on the court or wants to be after that. All right. By the way, this quote from Dion Waiters, I think, says it all about Terry Rosier. So maybe we're being too hard on Terry. I'd rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 9 because you go 0 for 9, that means you stop shooting. That means you lost confidence.
Salesman mentality.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah, just keep right.
But hasn't Terry been over? Hasn't he
shooting.
been 0 for 9? It's been closer to 0 for 9. So I think you're getting the worst of both worlds here.
Fair.
Semantics. Defending the house tonight. Well, the Heat kind of defended their own house with they didn't shoot the ball all that well. 14 of 50 from 3, but on the other side, this Utah team, and I think this is more representative of what this should have looked like the last time. Although Utah was missing more players tonight too, to the point that Patty Mills had to play 18 minutes. And as you mentioned, pretty much played the same game as Terry Rosier did. What did you see? I'll let Brady close on this. What did you see? They held Markkanen to 8 of 24, 6 of 15 from 3. Did a good enough job on him. He's really the one guy along with Sexton who could have hurt them. They both scored 46 points, but, Sexton was efficient. Markkanen wasn't. What did you think of the defense overall?
Yeah, I think if there was like a defending the house play, the Markkanen trying to poster Ware and him just rising up and blocking that, like having those type of grown up moments, I feel like in his rookie years, this continues as different type of bigs test him. I thought was important, but I just thought they threw different bodies on him in the second half. I just thought they gave him different looks, and that's important. I thought this the first time around, and I thought even more tonight, that if there was a game to play Bam and Ware together, it would be in this matchup, just because it makes sense with the Kessler and Markkanen stuff where they could just get to something. And especially with the way the game was, like, the offense was so in the mud, it was like, all right, it can't get more in the mud. So why not just try and see what it would look like on a night like tonight? That obviously didn't happen, but I just felt like they just threw a bunch of looks at them, and the defense is ultimately what's going to lead them to consistent offense with this new look group, because like I said, they have to play fast. They have to play on the break. They have to play off turnovers, because as you saw at the beginning of this game, especially with the starting lineup, as soon as they get into like constant half court sets and looks, they just hit a wall. It feels like a lot of the portions of the game, and against teams that aren't Utah, those stretches are going to turn into 10-point deficits, and it's not going to be an even game. So as long as the defense stays consistent and they run the floor, I think they'll be fine. They got to lean into their young guys as they've been doing.
We're going to close it there. Thanks to our sponsors, c-armandstaffing.com, real estate shop, fl.com, Javier and Amanda, and of course our friend Lynette, insurancebyLynette.com. Underdog, use the code 5. Be back with an episode tomorrow. Greg and I are going to give Brady and Alex a rare day off here. Saturday night, Portland, and then again next week, the 2 games against Los Angeles. Get those tickets. You can always scalp them. Get those tickets on the secondary market for the Denver game, because we may be headed for Armageddon, which God, that would be fun. That'd be fun. What do we think, guys? Let's real quick here. And I'm giving you 24 seconds each because I'm tired. I'm giving it, but like, what will the reaction to Jimmy be? What will the reaction to Jimmy be if this happens?
Tough question.
Like in the arena?
Question. In the arena. He's introduced last. What will the reaction be?
They're going to cheer him.
Maybe I think they're going to cheer him. I kind of agree. I just think, look, I think we're always like baked into Twitter and these different like social media apps, and it's never the same as it is in the arena. Like the fan in the arena is, it's just different. So I just feel like, no, I think he would get cheered. I honestly, it might even be like sarcastic cheers, like some of them. Like I don't know. I don't know if maybe.
I think it'll be multi cheers. Maybe just a hint of booze.
What will the Jokic brothers be doing if they're sitting in the sixth?
God, don't bring them up in a time like this, please. It's everything is tender.
I think we should continue the pod for 2 hours just to see if Alex could tolerate the cold. What do we think?
I just want to say that me and Alex got reprimanded before this started that we have to be a sharp 20 minutes. If we go past 20 minutes, it was going to be.
I'm tired. I'm not.
Ethan extended the show to talk about if they're going to cheer him on or not. Good stuff.
Yes. That could have been a whole.
It's a good question, though. It's a tough question.
It is a tough question. At the end of the day, it's a tough question. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.